All right, hello and welcome. Today, we're going to strap in for a super fast-paced tour of Earth's major biomes. Those incredible, massive environments that really define what kind of life can exist where on our planet.
So, you ready for a trip around the world in, like, 5 minutes? Seriously, our itinerary is packed. We're going to go from the freezing poles all the way down to the humid equator. So grab your virtual passport because we're taking off right now. Okay, so before we dive in, what exactly is a biome? Well, think of it like this. It's a huge area on Earth that has a specific climate. And because of that climate, only certain types of plants and animals can live there. They're all adapted to those exact conditions. So really, the key ingredients are temperature and rainfall. They're the ones setting the rules for life. And, understanding these biomes is how we start to see the whole amazing picture of life on our planet.
All right, first up on our journey, we're starting at the very top of the world. We're talking about the coldest, most challenging places you can find on Earth.
And our first stop is the tundra. This is that huge, windswept, and honestly, kind of empty-looking place. But don't let that fool you. The life that exists here is unbelievably tough.
Yeah, everything here, and I mean everything, is shaped by the cold. The ground itself, it's permanently frozen solid. We call it permafrost. And that's a huge deal because it means big trees just can't grow their roots. So instead, you get these really tough mosses and low-lying shrubs. And the animals, well, they're absolute masters of staying warm. Just look at this Arctic fox. That thick fur coat is basically the ultimate winter jacket for surviving those insane temperatures.
Okay, so let's head a little bit south from the tundra. And right below it, we find ourselves in the single largest land biome on the entire planet, the taiga.
The taiga is also called the boreal forest, and it's basically this gigantic belt of evergreen trees, pines, spruces, firs, that wraps all the way around the top of the globe through North America and Eurasia. The rhythm of life here is all about those long, super cold winters, and then these short but pretty nice summers. It's the perfect setup for big animals like moose and bears.
All right, let's keep this forest tour going. We're moving on from the cold and heading into forests that are a little more familiar, from places with changing leaves to spots where it's green all year round.
Now, this place might look pretty familiar to a lot of you, right? This is the temperate forest. And its signature feature is that it has 4 really distinct seasons. That whole cycle is exactly why we get those amazing autumn colors. It's the oak and maple trees shedding their leaves, basically powering down to save energy for the cold winter ahead.
Okay, we're leaving those changing seasons behind us now. Our next stop, welcome to the tropical rainforest. It is warm, it's humid, and it is buzzing with life all the time. I mean, the sheer amount of life packed into this one place is just mind-blowing.
And this number, this is the one to remember. More than 50%. That's over half of every single species of plant and animal on Earth. They live here in the rainforests. It's insane. So why here? Well, it's the perfect recipe. You've got constant warmth, tons of sunlight, and plenty of rain. It just creates this explosion of life. We're talking toucans, monkeys, and literally millions of insects we haven't even discovered yet. It's no joke. This place is the cradle of life.
All right, we're leaving the thick canopy of the forests now. Our tour is taking a turn into the great wide open, the huge plains, the dry deserts, and the scrubby hillsides of the world.
So, grasslands. The name kind of gives it away, right? It's all about the grass, but they come in 2 main types. First, you've got the savannas. These are warm all year with a rainy season, and they're home to those iconic animals like elephants, lions, and giraffes. Think Africa. Then you have the temperate grasslands, which are more like the American prairies. These places get super hot summers and freezing cold winters. Totally different set of animals, like bison and prairie dogs.
Okay, from the vast grasslands, we're now jumping to places that are defined by what they don't have, and that one thing is water. Yep, welcome to the desert. So what makes a desert a desert? It's actually really simple. There's only one rule. You have to get less than 10 inches of rain a year. That's it. And that's why a desert can be blazing hot, like the Sahara, or it can be freezing cold, like parts of Antarctica. It's all about the lack of water. And any life you find here, whether it's a cactus or a camel, is an absolute genius at saving every last drop.
Next up, we've got a really unique biome called the chaparral. You find this in places like California or around the Mediterranean Sea. The climate is pretty specific. Mild, wet winters, followed by hot, dry summers. But here's the crazy part. The plants here have adapted to wildfires. And it's more than that. Some of them need fire for their seeds to even start growing.
How wild is that?
All right, we're on the last leg of our world tour, and for this one, we're leaving dry land behind completely. It's time to dive into the biggest and, honestly, most important biomes of all, the aquatic ones.
So, first up, we have our freshwater biomes. This is, well, everything from your local pond to a massive river like the Amazon. And what's so incredible is that even though freshwater makes up only about 3% of all the water on Earth, it is just teeming with life. Fish, frogs, turtles, all kinds of insects. It's a bustling world in there.
And that brings us to the grand finale, the biggest biome of them all. I mean, it covers over 70% of our entire planet. It's the marine biome. And we're not just talking about the open ocean. This is a whole world of stunning coral reefs, mysterious deep-sea trenches, and underwater forests of kelp.
Okay, get ready for a fact that might just change the way you think about our planet. We always hear that the rainforests are the lungs of the Earth, right? Well, it turns out most of the oxygen we breathe doesn't come from trees at all. It comes from tiny little algae floating in the ocean. So the health of our oceans is literally tied to every single breath we take.
Wow. So, there you have it. We've just circled the entire globe, from the frozen tundra all the way to a living coral reef. Let's take a breath and just look at the amazing, living mosaic we've just seen.
And here's a quick recap of our whole world tour. You've got the tundra with its frozen ground, the taiga with its evergreens, the temperate forest and its 4 seasons, and the tropical rainforest, which is just packed with life. Then there are the wide-open grasslands, the super dry deserts, and that special chaparral biome. And of course the freshwater rivers and lakes, and the massive marine biome that gives us so much of our oxygen. See? Each one has its own rules, its own feel, and each one is a totally essential piece of the puzzle that is our living planet.
Every single one of these places supports life in its own incredible way, and they all weave together to make this amazing planet we share. So it really just leaves you with one last thing to think about. When you look at this incredible map of life, which one of these biomes do you get to call home?